that introduction. Thank you for your words, and of course, thank you for your friendship. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. My name is Jimmy Panetta, and I am here to tell you that I would like to represent all of you in our United States Congress. So today, I am announcing my candidacy for the congressional election that will take place in 2016. As a member of Congress in Washington, my goal will be to represent and fight for the interests of all the people on the Central Coast of California. Now, I'm starting here in Monterey because this is where it all started for my family and me. My grandparents came here as Italian immigrants in the 1930s, and they settled here on the Central Coast because this beautiful Monterey Bay that you see behind you reminded them of the southern coast of southern Italy, where they came from. But that was not the main reason they came to this country. The main reason was because they believed that they could give their children a brighter future. And throughout my life, I have always heard, and I have come to believe, that that is the American dream. Now, my nonno and my nana, they worked hard to fulfill that idea. They raised a family right up here in Van Buren Street, which used to be known as Spaghetti Hill. They ran a restaurant during the war years right here on Alvarado Street. And they worked hard so that they could keep their two boys off the streets by ensuring that they had every opportunity that this country could provide them. Now, that attitude, that work ethic, obviously was passed to my parents. My mother and my father not only worked hard for their own family, they worked hard for all families here on the Central Coast. Now, growing up, my parents never brought their work home. They never talked about why they worked so hard. But let me tell you, to this day, people make it a point to come talk to me about the results of that work. They tell me, these people tell me, these former constituents tell me, that as a last resort, they had to go to their congressman's office. And it was there that they were given personal service for very personal issues. Issues such as trying to get a loved one here from another country so that they could raise their family here. Issues like trying to obtain benefits from the military or the veterans, and issues like trying to obtain affordable housing. To me, those stories define public service. That's what it means. Those are the rewards of serving this area. Now, one thing that my parents did tell me, and my brothers, was that because we were allowed to live the reality of my grandparents' dream, we darn well better give back to this country and community that gave us so much. They made it clear that the torch of responsibility to our country must pass on to future generations. And that is why I have dedicated my life to public service, and that is why I am running for Congress, so that my two daughters, Siri and Gia, and your children can be protected and have the continued opportunities to realize the American dream. Now, throughout my life, I have fought for that goal. As an officer in the United States Navy Reserve who served in the mountains of Afghanistan, I fought to protect our country. As a prosecutor who served in the courtrooms of Oakland and Salinas, I fought to bring justice to victims and their families. And as a community volunteer here on the Central Coast, I fought to give our veterans a final resting place, to provide homeless veterans with housing at the Veterans Transition Center, and to start a Veterans Treatment Court that will open up soon. I fought to sustain the National Steinbeck Center with its purchase by CSUMB. I have worked to ensure that at-risk youth have a chance for a better life at Rancho Cielo. And as a member of the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary Advisory Council, I have fought, and I always will fight, to protect this beautiful Monterey Bay. Ladies and gentlemen, I am asking the people of the 20th Congressional District to give me a chance to fight for you. To fight for protecting and defending America from our enemies. For comprehensive immigration reform. For a strong economy that can provide jobs and the opportunity to give all working families a better life. And we'll continue to have that opportunity with our amazing agricultural industry and our tourism industry right here on the Central Coast. I will fight for a disciplined budget with tax fairness that still protects the critical safety net programs to provide health care and benefits to our veterans, to our elderly, and our needy. I will fight for clean energy and to protect both our lives and our planet. For quality education so that our children, our students, can compete in this 21st century workforce. I will fight for equal justice and opportunity for everybody, and I will fight. What I want to propose is a National Service Act. Something where our students, our children, can get out from the classroom, get out from behind the computers, and get in front of real people, serving them in their communities, and therefore serve our countries and receive educational benefits in return. Now, I realize we live in a time when there is a great deal of anger and frustration with the partisan gridlock in Washington. Trust me, I received a lot of questions as to why I was doing this over the last few days when I was speaking to people. But let me tell you, my first goal is to do all that I can to strengthen the trust between the voters and their elected representatives. In order to obtain that objective, I will bring young energy, fresh ideas, and I will do everything to renew the collaborative spirit that is necessary to get things done in the capital of this country. Now, as I see it, and I believe, there are many countries on this earth that define themselves by their history. But America, our country, has always defined itself by our future, our children, and the greatness that we know we can achieve when we protect and uphold our nation's ideals. But that's only going to happen when we have the type of leadership that is willing to fight and never give up in order to make our lives better. And in our democracy, that can only be achieved when our leadership fights to make a difference. Now, in my lifetime, our past U.S. representatives, my father, Congressman Sam Farr, have done that right here on the Central Coast. And I hope to do the same, to earn the trust of the people of the Central Coast, so that if I am given a chance to serve you as your congressman, I can provide the leadership to fulfill the dream of my grandparents and my parents, the dream of giving back to our community and our country so that we can give our children a brighter future. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would first like to introduce a few important and valuable people who are going to join me on this odyssey. I'd like to introduce my in-laws, Don and Joanne McIntyre, straight from North Dakota via Arizona. My brother Chris, an attorney, local attorney here, and his wife Elizabeth are here. I'd like to introduce my mother Sylvia and my father Leon. And we have the fourth son, Bravo. And of course, I'd like to introduce someone who was along for the journey. Now, growing up, I saw what it takes to be a good politician. It's not easy. It takes a lot of sacrifice, a lot of work on your part, but more importantly, your family's part. I've talked to my wife, Terry, about this. She understands that. Fortunately, she has good roots. being from North Dakota. She understands patriotism. She understands what it means to serve. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you my partner for this odyssey and for my life, Terry Panetta. What I'd like to do briefly is just take one or two questions from the press, and then subsequent to that, we're going to have more time over here in this cactus garden to answer any further questions.
What are your priorities for this area?
Well, clearly, we need to continue fighting for the environment because, I mean, look at today. Look how beautiful it is today. We're not going to ever give this up. But we're also going to fight for people to live here and enjoy it. Look, I worked at the Alameda County DA's office for about 13 years. I enjoyed working there. I enjoyed serving the public in Oakland, California. But it wasn't home. That's why I came back here. I came back here to live here and to serve here. But I got to tell you, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to come back here. But I fought for it. And fortunately, my wife fought for it too. And now my daughters attend the same elementary school I did. So I want to make sure that our children can continue to have the same sense of belonging that I did so that they can come back here and live here and raise their families. Please.
Mr. Panetta, do you support or oppose the Trans-Pacific Partnership?
Yeah, you're calling me out like that already. Right now, based on my understanding of it, obviously, it just came out, obviously it was made public, and I have not read all of it. I'm a prosecutor. I've been working in the courts here in Salinas. But based on my initial understanding, what I have read, it appears that right now I'm leaning towards against it. Any further questions?
This is your program of national public service work. How would that be rolled out?
Well, at this point, obviously it's going to happen when I get back to D.C. and when I'm going to push forward. But I think it's a basic core that's been a long time coming. I mean, I think people, what they're missing today is the human interaction and the understanding that it takes more than just sending an email or a text or a Facebook post. It takes getting out in front of people, experience people, and understanding people. That's how you get things done. That's what they need to realize. Because it's your personal relationships with people that lead to your professional relationships and your ability to get things done. Not just pressing send, but by reaching out and shaking a hand. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to take further questions over in the garden, but I really would like to extend my sincere appreciation for all of you to taking time to come here during the middle of the day, middle of your morning, although it's not a bad place to be, to support me. And I look forward to being here to support you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.